Oh look, you can see that, that's all just coming out. Green stuff. Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of me trying desperately to get this car working. I am here at Torque Monkey in Chelmsford, where the fantastic Tim, who's just there, he's going to come in here and he's going to take a look at this boost leak that I've got. So we think it might be, so you know I was chatting about the clamp on the hose right at the bottom there, and I couldn't get it past the plastic part of the intake for the supercharger thing. Saw that in the last video. He reckons it might be something as simple as that, and there is a way of actually getting that clamp on there, even though it's like 1mm thick. It doesn't go past the inlet. Tim reckons it could be that. If not, he's got some other places to look at. And also, I think we worked out as well what might be the deal with this reservoir. It might be simply that it's not actually linked to all of this. This is just third party and it's not really the correct item, so it's just actually not sealing properly. I think we might just try and get a genuine BMW Mini item, and that actually might just fix that little thing there, so that's good to know. See, that's something that you don't know when you're just kind of poking around the internet by yourself. Like, there's no way I ever would have looked at this and known that that was OEM or not, so that's good to know. That's why you have to call on the professionals from time to time. See, look, it won't even go on properly. Piece of... But he's very knowledgeable on these R53 Minis. We've just been chatting for ages about it. I think I've just used up loads of his time. But check this out. Modern Mini. That's the online shop part of this outfit. That's a bit of kit, that is. Love it. So, Torque Monkey in Chelmsford. Bear these guys in mind if you need any work done. But yeah, I'm going to leave it with Tim now, and then hopefully I'm going to pick it up and all is going to be well. Right, okay, it is the next day and I've got the car back from Torque Monkey Garage, and it looks like they've fixed it, which is absolutely amazing news. So I've just got the car home now, it's running, it's up to temperature, let it sit for a bit, see if anything happens. But it absolutely definitely was a boost issue. I'm going to take you through everything that was wrong with it, but I've got to say, even just listening to it now, it's idling a lot nicer. I suppose before I didn't even realise that it was idling poorly, but right now it sounds a lot nicer than when before. Okay, so there's been a few of you that have been pointing me in the right direction with this boost leak, and the main culprit was this green seal here. It's hard to show you now with all the cars back together, but you saw in the last video there's a plastic pipe that runs down into the intake for the supercharger. Now there's been a few of you that have mentioned this. GH in the comments, you've mentioned it, but there's a guy going by the name of Mini something like that. Oh, the bonnet just closed. That's ever so nice of you. It is really windy. I don't know what's going on with the weather. The temperature's just dipped to 8 degrees. It was 17 degrees the other day in bright sunshine. Today it's been snowing in parts of the country. I don't know. I don't make up the rules. All I'm going to say is Mini Doniel, if that's how you say it, has been commenting on pretty much all of my videos, just being like, it's the green seal, it's the green seal, it's the green seal. Thank you for that. I was paying attention, I was listening. I just couldn't be bothered to get in there myself and get it. So this seal is brand new, and I replaced this when I serviced the supercharger. You can probably already see that, but this bit of rubber right here is split, and it's split in there too. So what was actually happening, this had folded back on itself like that, and obviously this just wasn't sealing anything, so air was getting through past this gap, and that is what was causing the whistling sound. Now I did this, I broke this, because what happens is, so on the plastic pipe right in there, this green, when you take the plastic pipe off to service the supercharger, this green seal sticks into the pipe, and so you pull it out, and then it looks obvious that the way this then obviously goes back on the car is you put this back into the plastic pipe, and then you push the plastic pipe right up into the supercharger again. But it lulls you into a false sense of security basically, because this sticks into the pipe and it's not supposed to. what you're supposed to do when you reinstall these is you actually slip this onto the supercharger part first, then you butt up the plastic pipe. I did it the other way around, and so that's what caused that to break. So the guys at Torque Monkey, what they've done is they've put a whole new green seal in, and they've fitted it properly this time. The rubber hose that you saw connecting the intake to that plastic charge pipe as well, they've now replaced that with a much nicer item than the one that I replaced it with. And it's a proper silicone hose, and they've managed to get the clamps around it. There is a bit of a method to actually getting it on. They've done that as well. And I mean, the car's running now. Let's give it a rev. Nice. It would have started whistling by now easily, especially revving it like that. So it definitely looks like that's fixed. So that's fantastic. So that means the engine's actually going to be running nicely now, because air is getting in through the intake. It's going past all the correct sensors, and so it's not going to be over fueling and then running rough. So this is all fantastic news. Okay, so now on to the coolant issue. Thank you to everyone that commented on the last video offering up suggestion as to what might have been causing that. It turns out it was actually pretty simple. A couple of you did actually catch it. So one of the weak spots on these Minis are these tanks, and so apparently they fail around the seam around there, and they can fail at the hoses and that. On this particular one, it was actually the cap. So this is the cap that was on it before. This cap is just kind of failed. So if you can see this, sorry for the wind, it's really flexible. It's so easy to just push and mold like that with your hand. And we think that this is a non-OEM cap. This is actually just an aftermarket cap. And so what it was doing, you could actually put this cap on and you could turn, and you could just keep turning, and it would basically never seal completely properly. It always kind of, you could over tighten it really easy, and then you go back to stage one and it'd pop up, and it was doing all sorts of mad stuff. Why would that cause such like a catastrophic failure of the coolant if it was just the cap? Let's get into the classroom. And I say the classroom because I've been studying. So I'm trying to take this whole kind of car thing really quite seriously. And I purchased this book, Automotive Technology, Principles, Diagnosis and Service. I mean, it's a monster of a book. You can just see how thick that is. It's absolutely ginormous. It is a textbook, and it is incredibly dry. And I've just started reading this thing, basically cover to cover. Deals with absolutely everything you could ever imagine. It tells you all the principles of, you know, the car, how they actually work. I mean, look, if I just flick to this page here, you know, this is starter motor operation. It's got all these diagrams, tells you how starter motors work, what to look out for, how to service them, how to diagnose if you've got a bad one, da 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 da. It's so in depth. It's great. If you're like me and you're just coming from zero and you don't have a teacher, like, just start reading this thing. I have. It's been absolutely illuminating. Anyway, right, and the point of this is that it just so happened yesterday I'd got to this page. I'm in the coolant section, and there's this big warning here, and it says, remove the pressure cap only on a cold engine, as the coolant will boil when pressure is released. This occurs because the coolant temperature is above the boiling point, but it does not actually boil due to the pressure. When the pressure is released, all of the hot coolant immediately boils and expands outward from the opening where the cap was installed. That is the issue. That is the issue I had, right? So what was happening with the coolant tank on this car is that the cap simply wasn't making a proper seal. So when the whole coolant system come up to pressure, the cap, it just isn't making a seal. So it begins making a seal because there's not that much pressure, but as the temperature rises, there's an increase in pressure. Now, if you think back to being at school, you know, this would have been GCSE physics or chemistry. You had things like the ideal gas laws, Boyle's law, Charles's law. I think one of those laws probably applies here. You might remember the equations like P1V1 equals P2V2 and da-da-da-da-da, those sort of equations. Basically, what's happening here is, so the cap is sealing just fine. the pressure of the system rises, the cap is then failing, and then that sudden increase in pressure then allows the liquid inside the coolant tank to actually begin boiling where it couldn't before because it was being kept under pressure, and that was what caused it to go shapow everywhere and all over the engine bay. So, you know, we've had the car running now for quite a while. It's come up to temperature. They've put new coolant in it for me, and that cap very much seems to have fixed the problem. And so, like I say, this book has been absolutely fantastic. I'm learning so much. If you're, like I said, if you're someone like me, doesn't know anything about cars, this is going to give you an absolutely amazing grounding. It's not cheap. I think I paid £140 for this, but if you think about it being an investment like into your future, I think a lot of people who even know about cars could learn a lot in this book. So, I mean, I've put a link to the description where you can buy this on Amazon. Now we need to talk about the MOT. So just completely on the off chance, over the road from Torque Monkey Garage, there is a couple of garages that do an MOT, and I just popped into one. I said, oh, I don't suppose you've got any space coming up sometime this week. And she just said, oh, actually, we've had a cancellation. We can fit you in at 3:30 today. So I'm like, oh, doing that thing where I'm not mentally prepared. The car isn't actually prepared either. So the things that it was failing on, if you remember, with the brake caliper, I fixed that. That's no longer leaking. And then the only thing really I think that I can spot, not knowing everything that they check, is that the number plate lights need replacing. It is an MOT failure if these don't work, and apparently both of them are dead. If you can see in here, you can see the connector there for the bulb. I hope you can see that. It's all green and there's all sediment and stuff on it, so you can easily see how the bulbs aren't working. I've got 2 new bulbs. What I'm going to do is really quickly just clean up in here, fit the new bulbs, and then hopefully that should just be enough to pass the MOT. Now, one of the other things that the MOT was flagging was the fact that one of the 12 bulbs in the top here was out. And believe it or not, that's actually, you get an advisory for that. I mean, who makes these rules up? Who makes them up? It's just, I don't know how that's an advisory on your MOT. And it gets even more mental. A few of you were saying in the comments on the last video that if you've got a bulb out on this light up here, that all classes an advisory. But if the entire light doesn't work, you won't get anything. What? That's insanity. Who came up with that? So I think technically what I could do, I'm not going to, but what I could do is unplug this light, and then I won't get any advisories or anything on the MOT. It's just, I don't know. Oh, look, you can see that. That's all just coming out. Green stuff. Uh-oh, don't break it. Do not break that. Is that it? Okay, this isn't good. That doesn't work at all. Oh no, I need these for an MOT today. Why is it? It's just the smallest of things. The smallest of things. Oh, nothing I do is making this work again. And you know what? So you've probably seen that I've got these 2 rust spots. This is quite common actually on these Minis. I don't know how it gets in. Maybe it gets in through the seal up here. I mean, I've got a rear wiper delete and it's pretty much just this bung in there. It's not exactly the most secure of things, but water's been getting into here and it's been getting into here, and they are, or it's been getting up here or up there, I'm not sure, but you can see that it is right above the lights. So these units have clearly just gotten so much water in them that they've given up the ghost. Yeah, I mean, I just need a whole new unit in there, don't I? So I just pulled that whole assembly off and I just opened up the other lamp. I mean, look at that in there. I was really hoping that, oh, maybe I could just clean this up just enough just to kind of get them working a little bit, but that right there is the actual bulb holder. That's the bit that's supposed to conduct electricity into the bulb, and that's just snapped off. And I just checked as well, and you need both of these lamps working so as not to get a failure, believe it or not. You can't just have one going, so I need new units to actually go in here. There's not really any other way around it, I don't think, or maybe even just a whole one of these, because I'm not even sure they separate and come out. What a pain. You know, and this isn't even really a matter of safety, is it? Illuminating your number plate. There's nothing good that can ever come from having your number plates illuminated, because there are only a couple of agencies in the entire country that care about what your number plate says. Yeah, it's just bureaucracy. Yeah, it's just a bonnet closing by itself again. No, you are having a giraffe. Give me strength. What? Well, so it very much does look like you need a whole new one of these. Now the problem is obviously this is painted, and you've probably heard me say quite a few times, this colour, this black eye purple, is incredibly rare. So I did try to see how many of these have been sold. I could only find US sales data, and in the 18 months that they offered this particular colour, it accounted for 1.2% of all units sold in the US. Just to give you an idea of how rare that colour is. And so when it comes to buying anything this colour, well, there's nothing. It turns out there is actually one of these on eBay, and it's £60. £60. That's just bonkers. I have to. Doesn't matter if you can't. Hang on a minute, maybe I can get in there and get that off. Oh, well, if I didn't need a new one, I do now. Ugh. Well, I've just snapped the cover off, but look at it. That's the electronics, and that's not replaceable. That's just... So I have just come across this on eBay for £54, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is a whole new tailgate in black eye purple. £54. That's actually less money than the used one of these that's on there. What if I bought a whole new tailgate and then not only solved the issue with the handle, but I also solved this issue here with the rust? Rather than trying to fix the rust, maybe I'll just replace the whole tailgate. Oh no, god damn it. This one's got a chrome boot lid thing rather than a purple one, it's chrome. That solves literally zero of my problems. I've just found another one as well. Also chrome. There's actually two purple tailgates on eBay, which is rare. And they're both got that chrome thing. Okay, so I just phoned up, cancelled the MOT. So that's not getting done now. Been trying to work out, you know, what is the best port of call here. So the trouble is any of the boot lids that are on eBay, they have this whole bit here, it's chrome. Not just that, but they're not for the Cooper S. So they don't have the spoiler either. And so you need the spoiler. And I've just been looking at how to take that spoiler off, and they're not just bolted on, they're properly glued on hard, and people damage them taking them off. It's just kind of not worth it. So I think what I'm going to do is shell out that extortionate amount of money for the only the only one of these units in purple that I can find. And I think I'm just gonna have to get some quotes. Oh Jesus, look at that. Oh, that isn't good. That is terrible. Oh no, I should probably stop doing that. Do I get a quote to look at trying to fix this? Is that even fixable? I mean, you're gonna have to start welding metal in there, aren't you? And just the tiniest little things that open up the biggest can of worms. The colour of this car is a blessing and a curse. Blessing because it's rare, curse because it's rare. And you know, just one other thing we need to address is, I know for a fact that there are still those of you out there who have watched 2, 3, maybe even 4 of my videos and still haven't subscribed. I know for a fact because YouTube shows me. It would really help me out, and I'd really appreciate it if you took the 1 nanosecond to just boop. It goes like this, look. Doop. Click that little subscribe button. It'd mean a lot, it'd help me out. You can see all the problems I'm having with this and how much money I'm having to spend. Not that that's your problem. But if you were on a phone right now, you'd go like this. That's how easy it is to subscribe. You just I don't know what else to say. I think I might just have to work this out and see you in the next one. And now it's snowing. It's sunny and it's snowing.